expect on a daily basis?
So, Tony, we now actually have holding on the line, and I pronounced his last name wrong. It's Jason Levy. He is on hold, and we are going to bring him on in a second. But I want to first show this little short clip of him speaking at a special traumatic brain injury seminar at Stanford University, which is the university, the hospital that did the initial. He's had many operations since then, but the initial hospital that he was flown to.
This is really a miracle. We talk about miracles a lot, not the miracle of the Meadowlands and Miracle on Ice. Real miracles were lives that inexplicably were almost taken away.
Yeah.
Come back. Let's go to the tape.
Good friend of ours who has come from a different state, actually, come a long ways to be with us again. So the floor is yours now, Jason. Welcome back.
Thanks, Kevin. I did something interesting today with a friend of mine. I went back to the scene of the crime that changed my life. 2 years ago, I fell off a cliff 430 feet down over boulders and fallen trees, and I'm here, right? So I'm actually very happy about that. And in an instant, everything changed. No helmet was going to help that one. But as I laid down on that hill, I woke up about an hour later, and I really didn't know where I was. And I'm laying on an 80-degree hillside, and I couldn't sit up because I'll tell you why in a minute, and I couldn't see very well and had no clue where I was, and I could try and move around, and boulders were going down the hill next to me, and took like a minute or two to hit the bottom. I go, this is not a good situation. So I actually started to freak out, and I actually thought I was dying at that moment, and I might have even died and come back. I have no clue, but I wasn't religious going into that moment, but that kind of made my perception change a little bit. And I heard this inaudible voice that said, Jason, I got some news for you. You're going to have disabilities the rest of your life. You're going to lose your high-paying job. You're going to lose your dream house, your luxury cars, all the trappings that go in that, and your wife's going to leave. And then it said, but you found me, and whoever that was, and you can make that own opinion for yourself, but I think I knew who it was. And you're going to be happy as you've ever been in your life, and all that came true. So I was hyperventilating, freaking out a little bit, blood everywhere, and all of a sudden started calming down, and I was super calm, and I reached down, and I couldn't believe I had my cell phone in my pocket, and called 911, figured out 911. An hour later, there's 3 helicopters flying over, 40 EMS and firefighters looking for me. A young guy about this age comes down, sits next to me. He says, "Sir," I go, "Yeah, how's your day going?" And he says, "That tree you're pinned up against, it's the only thing keeping you from another drop of about 600 feet." And that got me thinking. I remember him radioing up to the battalion chief at the top of the hill, and it said, and the chief asked him how I was, and said, "Well, I don't see an inch of his body's not bleeding, and I can see his brain, but his vitals are like perfect." So it just again told me the message I was receiving to calm down, whatever that was.
And there he is at a symposium talking about it was a I Love My Brain conference, the second annual one.
Unbelievable.
And he joins us right now. We're talking with the man who survived an unbelievable situation, alive to talk about it today. And, of course, he is Jason Levy. Jason, appreciate you coming on today, man. It's an amazing story. And, you know, we talk about movies being made all the time, and this certainly sounds like a movie that should be made.
2 doctors were coming.
Sorry,
were
sir.
in.
Jason?
Jason, are you there?
Did you put him on, Robin?
Yeah, no, he's on.
Hello?
Let's try again.
Jason, can you hear us now?
There he is.
Hi.
Appreciate you coming on, man. You know, we love these kinds of stories on the show. You know, we talk about sports a lot, and we have a lot of friends who've gone through traumatic brain injuries, multiple concussions of athletes and things of that nature, repetitive concussions where you see players. For example, Luke Kuechly yesterday announced his retirement at the age of 29 because of concerns about brain. Your brain situation and the injuries that you sustained in this fall are just incredible. It's hard to believe. Now, how long ago was this when it happened to you? Because you were working, you were in a big tech sales exec in Silicon Valley when you were up on the hill, right?
Correct. It was April 27th, 2017.
So we're talking less than 3 years, or coming up on 3 years this April.
That's correct. Yes.
So you lived at the time on top of a mountain, 2 acres, Santa Cruz, beautiful mountain area. So you're up there on the mountain, and you were chopping on a tree or something, right? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, I could see from my backyard. The house was just a house, but the view I could see 75 miles out. And I heard you. I'm a big fan, by the way, Tony. Used to listen to you in the Bay Area with Gary Ratnich quite a bit, and
well, thank you.
And I know you've been to Santa Cruz as well, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So the reason I was on that hill is, it's not in that Stanford piece, but in 4 months earlier, this was talent, but I got in 3 car accidents in 4 days, and I had 2 head injuries out of those 3, and so I hardly missed a day in my life of work, but I had to miss days because I was dizzy and passing out and fainting and headaches and couldn't think straight. And so 4 months later, to April 27th, I was just bored, and I was tired of sitting around, and I don't even remember those 4 months, but I had fallen a bunch of trees on that property trying to get the best view possible, and it was already great, but there's one tree that I hadn't yet gotten down, and I decided to try and finish it off in a neck brace. I had a soft collar brace on and shorts. I took an axe and started cutting it, and I really don't remember, but I either slipped or I could have fainted, and then fell down the hill over a bunch of boulders and fallen trees.
Now, we heard in that YouTube video that at the symposium where you were talking about brain damage, you had broken neck, multiple spinal fractures, broken shoulder, 3 broken ribs, bleeding on the brain, stroke, visual disorder, cognitive impairments, and the cumulative traumatic brain injury, and more. That wasn't it.
But the biggest thing that made an impact to me, that was when the guy came down to rescue you, your brain was showing.
Yeah, it wasn't hanging out. You mentioned earlier, Robin, that it was hanging out. It wasn't, but it was showing for sure, yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's ever seen my brain, thankfully. I just want you to know. And some people think they can see in my brain, but no. I mean, this is an amazing, amazing story. Now, you have, obviously, you're lucid. How long did it take for you after all of the brain procedures that you've gone through? And you talk about a lot of the physical damage that it still affects you to this day. But how long did it take you to get back to the point where you could talk, hear, understand, think, listen? Or have you still lost and not able to regain some of those functions?
First of all those injuries, it's just a flesh wound, Tony. But
yeah, right. They just spit on it and go back out there and have somebody put 2 fingers up and say, "Yeah, you're all right. Go back out there and climb again."
Right. But they flew me to Stanford. I was there 20 days ICU, and then when I got home, just to add to the story, a couple weeks or maybe months later, my wife says, I can't handle this. And 21 years of marriage and raising her 3 kids, she decides to leave. And And so it was that moment that I felt very alone, right? So I went from, I took an 80% cut in pay. I lost my vision to the right. I had all these injuries. So it was a sink or swim type moment.
Can I interject real quick, though? You actually said that when you were laying down there was a voice that you heard that told you that this was going to happen, right?
Yes. Well, not going to happen, but my wife had said many times that I was going to fall and kill myself on that hill. And one of the first things I thought of was, damn it, she was right, But I kind of had a premonition that it could happen because I had fallen a few times, but just short falls, and I scraped myself. And every time I was out there, people said I was crazy, and I was stupid. But the first year, to answer your question, was probably the most challenging, but also the quickest healing. I mean, when I got out of the hospital, I couldn't walk in the hospital. Then I learned to use a stroller and learned to walk again. I wasn't speaking very fluid, and really, I didn't think. I never thought I'd be talking to Tony Bruno today. That's for sure. But on my 1-year anniversary, against everybody's wanting me to do this, I went to Italy by myself just to celebrate life, and that's really when I turned the corner. And on that trip, I decided to not do a funeral, but a memorial service for the old Jason and embrace the new Jason, because I'll never be what I was, but I can be still a wonderful person, and actually, I hope, better in many ways. And so that was a really life-changing thing. But I still have many issues, but you live through it. And my real goal is to. There was times where I contemplated, quality life and should I go on and all those things, and I hit some really dark moments, and so really what I'm trying to get out of this is just help people that aren't getting out of bed. And TBIs, there's 3 times more likelihood that they would commit suicide with people that don't have one. Mm-hmm. And so, and it's an invisible illness. I look fine, but I kind of look like you, Tony, actually, without the face hair. But,
yeah, but you have better glasses than I did, though. People were commenting on the glasses in that video. Are those prescription, or I like the color?
I've got about 100 pairs, actually. But
awesome.
I got different colors, and I'm kind of like Elton John that way. But, yeah. But
now, Jason, I know that you're in the process of writing a book, right? But more so, this is just if people want to reach out to you and have you talk to them and figure out if you can help them somehow turn their life around, if they're depressed, or what was it that made you realize that you could now make a difference in people's lives?
I've kind of always had that in me. Even as a young boy, I thought that somehow I was going to be able to reach out and help other people, and I have no idea where this is going. I'm still formulating it in my mind. I'm hoping by getting my story out there and showing people that you can overcome just about everything, you can come back from almost anything. And so that I hope to start maybe a podcast of my own someday. I have this book, I have a YouTube channel, and I have and my son actually has a film production company in Vietnam, and so we're kicking around some ideas on that too. But the main purpose for this is just to reach out and try and help others.
Well, it's an inspirational story, and Robin and I have done so much stuff. We talked about Bill Romanowski and doctors who are doing all of this brain injury, as you call it, TBI, traumatic brain injuries. Yeah. There's so much of it, so many, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a kid who fell down the wrong way. I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to fall off a mountain to have this. And we saw Carson Wentz get hit in the back of the helmet. Luckily, that he doesn't have a history of concussions and brain trauma injuries. But there's so many people who do, and your story is inspirational. And I hope you get it. Now, you're living in Gilbert. In fact, we just had somebody call us the other day from Gilbert, Arizona, listening to the show. Yes.
Now, I know that you're not done completely with different surgeries. I think you're going in soon, right, for another one?
Right. I can't really talk about it too much, but I'll give you a general idea. So, because I'm on the confidentiality, but I'm going to have a procedure March 17th. It's a case study at one of the major universities, I'll just say. And they've been doing this for Parkinson's patients for a couple of years with success. They put a couple electrodes in the center of your brain, run wires down to a pacemaker type device, and then it fires up your neurons and tries to jumpstart you, sort of.
Wow.
And
so you're going to get a reboot. You're going to get a reboot.
Exactly. Reboot in many ways. I'm born again Christian. All these things, amazing things have come out of this, and I feel like I have a chance. How many people get a chance to live a second life, and that's sort of how I feel.
Well, it's an awesome, awesome story. I mean, sorry, obviously this happens to you, but sometimes in tragedy comes a great second coming, so to speak. I'm not trying to turn you into Jesus or a religious icon here, but you can help a lot of people because this is an amazing story, and these are the stories. When you live through it, that's when people want to hear it. You get somebody up there who wrote a book who doesn't know anything about it, and hey, I had a lot of friends who did this, and I heard from this guy. I mean, you survived this, and there's no better example of somebody that people will listen to.
Absolutely.
Even with the glass. What color were those glasses in that video, though?
Green.
The green glasses. Now, you're not a poker player, are you?
Yeah, I've played a little poker. I haven't since the injury because I wouldn't trust my brain. I'd lose all my money.
Exactly. Good call.
Good call. Well, Jason, I really hope that you stay in touch with us, and good luck. We're praying for you on your next operation, that the reboot goes well, and we can't wait to see what you are going to do in this second life.
And you can follow him on Facebook at facebook.com/jason.s.levy, Levy, jason.s.levy. And then you say you have a YouTube channel as well, right?
Right. If you just look up Jason S. Levy, it'll pop up.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I actually played. I'll post the link to your YouTube channel. I think I have it right here.
Awesome.
Great.
But fantastic story. I'm so glad that you were brought to our attention, and glad that we were able to have you on the show.
I hope to meet you guys someday, maybe when my book's released. And
if they make a movie, I want to be in it. I'll be a guy hanging on a tree or something. Like on the side of the cliff.
How about you be my stunt double and reenact the whole thing?
Oh, that's good. No, I'm older than you. I don't think I would survive at all trying to hang from the side of a cliff.
Maybe you could be one of the doctors.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just want a minor role. It doesn't have to be speaking. I just want to be in the movie about the movie.
But you're known for your voice.
Yeah, I can do the voiceover. I can do the background.
Yeah,
whatever you need, I will be there for you.
Oh, you could be the narrator. Oh, no. You could be the voice of God.
Yes.
You could be the voice of God.
Well, Mike Rowe gets all those roles, and so does the great actor who everybody says should be the voice of God. When people say, I want somebody narrating my life, I want it to be
Matthew McConaughey.
No, not Matthew McConaughey. He would be too wasted, and he'd be sitting in his Lincoln, and he would get out and do ice fishing and stuff like that. No, what's his name? The great actor. He's played God. He's played the president.
Yes. That plays everything. He's in every single freaking movie now.
He's not in now. He's always been in every movie.
I'm drawing a blank.
That's terrible knowledge,
I
Robin.
know.
Don't expect me not to remember. Morgan Freeman, thank you.
Morgan Freeman, thank you.
It takes a man, our buddy, play-action reel from Gilbert, Arizona, to remember Morgan Freeman, one of the most iconic voices in the history of civilization.
Well, George Burns was the most iconic voice of God.
But he was an act that George Burns didn't do voiceovers.
I know.
Morgan Freeman does everything. He played God. He played the president in a recent movie that nobody saw.
Although, if I were going to think of a voice of God, I think it would, for me, it would be the other, the guy who played I Am Your Father.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones is another one. And Ving Rhames, too, because he says, we have the meats. James Earl Jones is a good one. And not Gilbert Gottfried. He's the voice of God, but I don't want Gilbert Gottfried having anything to do with anything involving my life story, even though he's crazy and he's fun. No, God doesn't either. Jason, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together for the greatness that is Jason Levy, formerly of Santa Cruz, formerly of the Bay Area, now hunkered down in Gilbert, Arizona, baby. Thank you, Jason.
Go Niners in 3 weeks when you're at the Super Bowl.
Well, they got to go Niners this weekend before they can get to the Super Bowl with us. We're going. We don't know if the Niners...
Unless you have some insider information, and then we'll bet the house on it.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Continued success. That's an amazing story. We love those stories. And this isn't one that gets a lot of national attention. And so when we found out about Jason, not just because he listened to me and he knew who I was, but the fact that he does listen to me and knew I was the reason we were able to find him.
Yeah. Well, one of the person who's helping him write his book reached out to us because I've worked with her before, and she reached out and said, hey, I have this amazing story. I know that the book's not ready yet, but
awesome.
I think that he would be a great guest on your show. And I read the little synopsis that she had written, and I was like, wow, this is what an uplifting, truly amazing story. And we wish him all the best. I know that this next big surgery is scary. I mean, whenever you're going into somebody's brain, you don't know what the outcome's going to be.
My surgery last year was on the other end of my body.
Yes.
Because there's two ends that matter. The brain and then the other part, where a lot of people have their brains,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately.
You know what I'm saying?